You're 35 and way too old. Let's get a divorce. If you round up, you're basically 40. I'm cutting ties with you as a parent. Just leave.
Could there be anyone else who gets yelled at like this by their husband and son? Especially on their birthday? It seems they no longer consider me as family. But this might be a blessing in disguise. I've been waiting for the perfect moment to get back at them. My name is Darcy, and I'm 34. I live with my 25-year-old husband Sam and our 19-year-old son. I gave birth to Jeff when I was just 16, a single mother. I worked hard to raise him and met my current husband in my late 20s. I'm truly grateful to Sam for accepting me and my child. Because of their close ages, my husband and son are more like buddies than father and son. Even before we got married, Jeff was attached to Sam, which was fine. But as time went on, the way they treated me started to change for the worse. One day, while I was cleaning, I found Jeff lying on the floor. "Hey Jeff, I'm about to vacuum. Can you move?"
What? Just do it when I'm not here.
What's with that attitude? Weren't you supposed to go for a part-time job interview today?
I felt lazy, so I skipped it.
What? We agreed you'd earn your own allowance. I just gave you $300 the other day.
If you're a parent, don't be stingy over $300.
Listen to this recording on my phone. You clearly said you'd earn your own money.
Shut up, old lady. Stop nagging.
When I played the recording, Jeff angrily lashed out. Lately, I've been recording their words because we often argue about who said what. Thankfully, I had this recording. After high school, Jeff neither got a job nor did anything productive. He just lazed around at home. He'd say he's going for a part-time job interview, but would either not show up or quit after a few days. Moreover, his attitude towards me worsened daily. A few years ago, Sam started calling me old, and Jeff picked up on it. While I was still in shock from Jeff's behavior, Sam came downstairs looking grumpy.
What's all this noise? You woke me up.
Sam, please say something to Jeff. He skipped his job interview again.
Oh, is that all? I'm trying to sleep in on my day off. Let me be.
What do you mean? Is that all?
You've been getting angry a lot lately. Is it menopause?
What? It's normal to get mad at a son who does nothing all day.
Whoa, scary. Women do get cranky with age. Watch out, Jeff.
Laughing at his dad's words, Jeff said,
Too funny.
How can they belittle their wife, their mother, to this extent? What on earth did I ever do to you two? Seeing that I wouldn't fight back, my husband and son kept hurling insults at me. Their close bond made them team up and mock me. Lately, they'd intentionally avoid eating the meals I prepared, or wouldn't come home until late at night. Sometimes my husband would even come home smelling of perfume. Can we really call this a family? I've started to wonder. Yet I remember the pain of giving birth to my son, and the man who accepted us and married me. So I tried to keep my reactions neutral. A few months later, I felt a bit brighter that day, because it was my 35th birthday. They might have forgotten, but I didn't care. I decided to treat myself and bought a cake and some appetizers after work. When I got home, surprisingly, both my husband and son were there to greet me. Why are you two here?
What are you talking about, Darcy? It's your birthday, right? Yeah, it's your birthday, so we came home early.
You remembered my birthday?
Of course, we're a family, aren't we? Just sit down, Mom. We've got everything ready.
I'm so happy. Thank you both. Honestly, I was deeply touched. For years, they didn't even remember my birthday. So knowing they cared enough to celebrate was heartwarming. 30 minutes later, my husband and son set the appetizers on plates and put candles on the cake. With big smiles, they said,
Happy birthday, Darcy. Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you both so much.
We know it's been tough. Thanks for everything.
Thanks, Mom. Wait, thanks? Why past tense? I feel like this is a strange way to celebrate. Ignoring my confusion, Jeff urged,
Come on, blow out the candles.
After I did, they both stood up clapping.
Done. Good job. Man, that took forever. Finally free from the old lady.
Wait, what's going on?
Jeff, she still doesn't get it. Come on, Dad, you tell her. I can't stop laughing.
What did I do? I just blew out the candles. They then dropped a bombshell.
We're done with you. You served your purpose. Finally, we're free. Oh, that's right.
What are you talking about?
Don't you get it? We don't need a 35-year-old. We're divorcing. Round it up, and you're 40. We're cutting ties. Just leave.
My husband pulled out divorce papers from his bag and slammed them in front of me.
Here, I prepared everything.
Sam, are you serious about this divorce?
Obviously. Who'd want to be with an old lady like you? Haha.
Old lady?
Isn't it obvious? You're 10 years older than me. I don't want to take care of someone like that.
But when we got married, I asked you. I have a child and I'm 10 years older. Are you sure about this?
You were still in your late 20s then, and you were pretty.
But everyone ages. He sighed and mocked.
You think you're so special. Be grateful we even stayed with you past 30.
Jeff added.
Exactly. Did you ever think we needed you?
But I'm your real mother.
Gross. Stop acting all high and mighty. You had me at 16. You're just an old crazy person. We really don't care about you. Just leave.
In that moment, the fragile love I felt for my family shattered. So I'm no longer a part of this family. They've prepared the divorce papers, and even my son has rejected me. Then there's no need for me to endure this any longer. With determination, I signed the divorce papers in front of my husband and son. Is this what you wanted?
Wow, you made up your mind quickly. Giving up on us, huh? Feeling sorry for yourself now that we've dumped you?
I looked down at them and said, Given up? Dumped? No, I'm the one leaving you.
What are you talking about? Stop playing dumb, Jeff. She's just being bitter.
Enjoy your carefree life while you can. It won't last long. I grabbed the signed divorce papers and packed my things to leave. That night, I stayed in a cheap hotel, and the next day, I visited a lawyer's office I had in mind. Of course, to get back at my husband and son. A few weeks later, as expected, my husband called. Hello?
Darcy, what the hell is this?
What are you talking about?
Don't play dumb. I just got this certified mail.
If you received it, then just follow the instructions.
You've got to be kidding. Why am I being asked to pay compensation for the divorce?
Why? Because you cheated. Yes, Sam had been having an affair. I had suspicions when he started coming home smelling of perfume. I even suspected he introduced his mistress to our son. I had hired a detective to gather evidence and was prepared for a divorce.
You knew about her?
Of course, I found out by accident.
Why didn't you say anything? Now you're demanding compensation after the divorce.
Why? Because I thought of you as family. I was devastated when I found out about the affair. I even thought of divorcing you right away, but I endured it because we were family. Tears welled up as I spoke my truth. I went to see a lawyer, vowing that I would no longer have any regrets about my husband, and I would sever ties with my son. I had hoped he might apologize and admit his mistakes, but that hope was shattered with this call.
Huh, so you still have feelings for me? I'll forget about the divorce if you drop the compensation claim.
You're serious? After all the insults in the affair? Not even an apology?
Why should I apologize?
Excuse me?
It's your fault for getting old. I did nothing wrong. It's all on you for aging.
Fine, I'll see you soon with my lawyer. I hung up and headed to my former home with my lawyer. Upon arrival, they greeted me with smug smiles.
Long time no see. How does it feel to be kicked out by your loving husband and son? You've aged a bit since we last saw you. Can't believe you're my mom. Dad's girlfriend is way hotter.
Same old with you two.
What do you want? If it's about the compensation, we're not paying. Get out. Just seeing you annoys me.
All right then. Please proceed, lawyer. Prompted, my lawyer began to explain on my behalf.
All right, Sam. We're demanding $20,000 in compensation for the divorce due to your affair. I already told you, I'm not paying. Additionally, we're asking for $10,000 for the emotional distress Darcy suffered from your verbal abuse. That's a total of $30,000. Wait, $30,000?
My husband was visibly shaken by the amount. Sweating, he appealed to the lawyer.
Wait a minute, this is ridiculous. I never verbally abused her. We have evidence, you know. What? Darcy has been recording your conversations, just in case.
I initially did it to avoid he said, she said arguments. I never thought it would come to this. Nodding in agreement, the lawyer continued.
You have a very smart wife. She's gathered so much evidence, even unintentionally. This can't be. Just so you know, all the evidence Darcy has is valid. We've backed it up, so trying to take it from her and erase it won't work. That's all from me. Darcy, shall we go?
As we were about to leave, my husband shouted.
Wait.
What?
Please, Darcy, I can't afford $30,000.
That's not my problem. You brought this on yourself, remember? You're the one who handed me the divorce papers.
But I never thought it would come to this.
I exploded in anger. What are you saying now? After all the times you insulted me and called me old, now you want to back out of the divorce? You're too convenient.
But that was just a joke.
I have no intention of getting back with you. I'll make sure you pay the compensation for the divorce. I feel so relieved to be divorcing you. Go to hell, jerk. My husband's face turned pale, and he was speechless. Seeing this, my son hesitantly approached me.
Mom, wait,
What?
Well, if Dad pays the compensation, he won't have any money left.
What's your point?
You'll still give me an allowance, right? Like the usual $500 a month?
I couldn't help but laugh at his audacity.
What's so funny?
Why would I give you an allowance?
But you're my mom, and I'm still a minor.
Oh, didn't you know?
What?
The law changed in April. Adulthood starts at 18 now. So, you know what that means?
That means...
You're 19, an adult. I have no obligation to support you. Get a job, you lazy bum.
Mom!
I'm not your mom anymore. Just like you abandoned me, I'm abandoning you. I won't help you no matter what. You and your low-life father can sink together.
Wait, Mom!
Ignoring my ex-son's cries, I left with my lawyer. Soon after our divorce was finalized, my ex-husband apparently went into debt to pay me the compensation. He quickly remarried his mistress, but it turned out she had borrowed thousands from loan sharks under his name. She's now missing, and he's hiding from the debt collectors. Instead, he was arrested for black money and is now living in hiding. As for my ex-son, he got a part-time job at a grocery store, but was fired quickly due to his laziness. He's now often seen spending nights in parks. It's ironic how similar they are, even though they're not blood-related. Some might say it's irresponsible to abandon one's child, but I don't regret my decision. I have feelings too. I'm not a robot. I refuse to dedicate my life to such people after enduring so much. From now on, I'll cherish myself and live a life I can be proud of.
You're the low-educated, incompetent employee which Mom told me about, huh? Suddenly, I was tasked with conducting an interview. My interviewee was Catherine, a daughter of a director who was scheming nepotism. However, she started laughing loudly, crossed her legs, and began to look down on me, bringing the interview to the verge of collapse. I couldn't believe the company was considering hiring someone like her. Later, when the director heard my report, he began to tremble. I'm 32 years old. After graduating from college and switching jobs once, I'm now working steadily at my current company. I usually work in the HR, and my boss, Jacqueline, the director, is someone I deeply respect. Because she is always cheerful and highly trusted by everyone around her. Though I respected the director, I often felt something was off. But I couldn't figure out what it was and continued to work with her for 5 years. Finally, I grasped what that feeling was about. It became clear when the director suddenly had to step away, and I was asked to interview her daughter as a stand-in. This led to an unbelievable fate for both the director and her daughter. Sorry to ask, but could you interview my daughter? Don't feel pressured just because she's my daughter, just treat her like usual. Understood. Leave it to me. She must be excellent, being your daughter. Thanks. I have to go now. Good luck. One day, I was suddenly asked to conduct an interview. The director had an unfortunate schedule change with a client and had to rush to a meeting room with the chief. But today was also the day her daughter was coming for an interview, so she asked me and my colleague Nancy to take over. Since we had no particular plans, so we happily agreed and saw the director off. Since the interview wasn't until the afternoon, we continued our usual work until then. I thought it would just be a formal interview, considering she was the director's daughter. After joining the company, the director's daughter was going to work as my colleague. Apparently, someone in our department was transferring next year, and the director recommended her daughter to fill the vacancy. While I was looking forward to it and working, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around to find Isabel, the chairman's daughter, standing there. Isabel is quiet but a vital member who always works earnestly. I only found out Isabel was the chairman's daughter recently, during the first drinking party in a long time where the director shared the story. Isabel wasn't at that gathering, but later, when I checked in with her, it turned out to be true. It's a fact known to those in positions above the director, but not to the general employees. Isabel kept it hidden because she didn't want everyone to know. After hearing this, I apologized. Isabel smiled, forgave me, and after some small talk, we became a bit closer. About this document. Do you have questions? I'll help if I can. Thank you. Isabel smiled gently. The reason why I could see such a smile, because we had talked and gotten a little closer. Until then, Isabel had been someone who worked methodically, seldom interacting with other employees. Since she didn't exhibit any notable problem behaviors, no one in the department really said much. Now that I had talked to her and become a bit friendlier, I started approaching her, but until then, since there was no interaction outside of work, I hadn't paid her much attention. I'm sure most others felt the same way. Besides, Isabel herself probably liked being alone. At that time, that was all I understood about her. But later, I came to know that Isabel was dealing with some troubles. When I heard about them, I was shocked and couldn't believe it. Hi, I'm Catherine. Thank you for having me today. The afternoon passed, and it was time for the interview. As the interviewer, I was waiting in the interview room with my colleague for the director's daughter. She arrived on time, as scheduled. Her educational background was impeccable, with active participation in volunteer work and cultural exchanges. She had also studied abroad, and her resume mentioned proficiency in German. Please, take a seat. I said that, guiding Catherine to the chair in front of me. Catherine had frozen for a bit after entering, then looked uneasy, as if she wanted to ask something. She seemed confused not to see her mother among the interviewers. I explained that the director had urgent business and that my colleague and I had taken over the interview. The director isn't here, but please relax and answer the questions. They aren't too difficult. When I said this, Catherine furrowed her brows and looked at me. She sat down, her face tensing with nervousness. I kept my tone calm and asked the questions formally. However, the interview didn't go as I expected. Catherine gave careless responses and didn't answer even simple questions. I didn't show it, but I was very surprised inside. I had checked her resume and imagined her to be a competent person, so the contrast was startling. Are you nervous? Concerned, I asked this, to which Catherine looked at me with her eyes narrowed. I hope you don't mind me asking, but are you really standing in for my mother? Wouldn't the person next to you be more competent? Excuse me? I was taken aback by her unexpected words. As I wondered about her intention, Catherine slouched back, sneering. Like, is this interview even necessary? My mom is a director, you know? I wasn't told I'd have to spend so much time on this. I have plans later. Her attitude left me speechless. What was she talking about? Seeing me silent, Catherine burst out laughing. Didn't you know? It's as if I'm already hired. Unlike you, I'm competent. Please watch your language. We are in the middle of an interview. I don't care what you think, but please answer our questions properly. When I retorted irritably, Catherine closed her mouth in displeasure. I had high hopes knowing she was the director's daughter, but now I couldn't deny feeling disappointed. However, since she said she is joining the company, I tried to persuade her. But it seemed nothing got through to Catherine. She absent-mindedly fiddled with her nails, not even trying to make eye contact. It's kind of funny how desperate you are. I do want a job, but I'm not exactly enthusiastic. I just need enough money to live. Even so, working comes with responsibilities, right? You understand that, having come for the interview? I heard this company has a good work-life balance. It is impossible for someone as incompetent as you to convince me. Do you get it? Catherine's flippant attitude during the interview left me with an indescribable feeling. Indeed, many people in the company have a similar stance as her. But even they think proactively and act responsibly. I just wanted her to understand that, but Catherine dismissed it as something only enthusiastic employees do, arguing that it makes no difference in terms of evaluation, so it's pointless. I didn't want to work with someone like her. My colleague, perhaps feeling the same, shook their head in displeasure. If you understand, can you hurry up and end the interview? I know about you, you know. Catherine said this with a sly smile. I didn't understand what she meant, but for some reason, Catherine looked triumphant. Mom said we don't need people like you in this company. Catherine said this, crossing her arms and puffing out her chest. Hearing her words, I couldn't help but tense up and look at her. Catherine seemed self-assured, sneering at me with a side glance. Then she began to act arrogantly. I could interview you if you want. I don't understand what you're saying. Frustrated, I responded, and Catherine provoked me, saying if I'm not incompetent, I should be able to answer her questions. Are you refusing because you can't answer? Even when I disagreed, Catherine wouldn't listen. Since she persistently said I should be able to answer otherwise, I finally asked what she wanted to know. With a malicious smile, Catherine started prying into my educational background. What I did as a student, and whether I've made any achievements in the current company. When I answered honestly, she laughed it off and became even more arrogant. Eventually, she crossed her legs and laughed loudly, claiming that I would soon be her subordinate. When I asked what she meant, Catherine turned to me as if she were glad that I asked that question. I am planning to take over Mom's position. I'm the director's daughter, and she said she'd bring me in. So it's like I'm being hired for her succession, right? Huh? Even if you join the company, you can't just become a director so easily. You have to learn the job first, right? That'll be easy. Mom acknowledges my ability. I'm sure I can learn the job in a year, right? Then, I will become a manager in the second year, and a director in the third year. I'm talented, so maybe I won't even need a full year to learn the job. I was increasingly astounded. It was a natural reaction, considering she was missing the steps to become a manager. My colleague, too, looked dismayed and was no longer interested in conducting a proper interview. We should better be wrapping up this troublesome interview quickly. Then, we should report this to the director, suggesting she reconsider hiring her daughter. I understood your career plan. However, I won't be your subordinate. Please revisit our company's website and check the career plans of your seniors. You'll realize your plan is unrealistic. I said that, trying to end the interview. I never imagined I'd have to lecture someone like this during an interview. Suppressing a sigh, I sent Catherine a silent look, signaling her to leave. But Catherine, seemingly unsatisfied. Why? She asked. There's nothing more to answer. After I said that, Catherine stood up abruptly. The chair she had been sitting in toppled backward with a clatter. Ignoring that, Catherine approached me and leaned on the desk in front of me. Why? Isn't it natural I'll be your boss? I ask you, why would I become your subordinate? Because you're the low-educated, incompetent employee Mom told me about. I was stunned by her words. Catherine, looking down on me, talked about what her mother had said. I was astounded to hear the content of her story. After venting everything, Catherine left the interview room, seemingly satisfied. Left behind, I exchanged glances with my subordinate next to me, mentioning the need to verify the truth of her story with the director. We need to discuss this in our interview report this evening. In the evening, I approached the director, who had returned to our department looking a bit tired from a long meeting. The director, though tired, urged me to continue. I revealed the outrageous behavior of the director's daughter at the interview. The director, wide-eyed and deeply shocked, listened to my words. My child, behaved like that. I know it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. Also, there was something else she mentioned that concerned me. What is it? With a tense face, I told the director everything Catherine had said. The director became even more confused, turning red with anger, and raised her voice. Hearing her, people around the floor started staring at us. Yet, I calmly affirmed the facts. Jacqueline, did you tell your daughter I'm a low-educated, incompetent employee? If that's true, I'll have to respond accordingly. Are you threatening me? No, not at all. I just have personal concerns and wanted to verify the facts. Hearing this, the director looked confused. I don't know what my daughter said, but do as you like. The director, seemingly unable to contain her anger, made a dismissing gesture with her hand. My perception of the director changed significantly that day. Later, the director called me in. I also had things to discuss after completing my fact-checking, so I responded to her call. The meeting was in a conference room. I opened the door and greeted as I entered. Inside, the director was waiting for me, pale and trembling. You've done something unnecessary, haven't you? What do you mean? Don't play dumb. The director approached me as I entered the room, glaring at me fiercely. Despite her menacing look, I started recording on my mobile phone in my pocket. The director was still pale, showing signs of distress. Yesterday, you talked about fact-checking, but what exactly did you verify and with whom? Because of you, I was called in by the vice presidents this morning, and... So, were you told to consider a department transfer and resign from your position? So, it was you. Confess what you did. Confronted with her accusations, I honestly explained my actions from the previous day. First, I had a direct conversation with the director. I thought I was the incompetent, low-educated employee her daughter mentioned at the interview, but as we talked, unfamiliar facts emerged. The employee who the director's daughter often heard about was someone the director always burdened with work, leading to almost daily overtime. I was shocked as I had no memory of such treatment, initially thinking the director's daughter was lying. However, seeing my colleague's stiffened face after hearing the story confirmed its veracity. Actually, there's one person in the department who has a lot of overtime. Really? Who is it? Yes. I manage the overtime records on a computer, and I always thought something was odd. I was unaware my colleague was doing this and was just impressed. My own overtime was within the regulations, so I wasn't the person mentioned in the story. But the revelation of who was doing the excessive overtime was a shock. It's Isabel. I was stunned. There was no indication of this, but I decided to confirm it with Isabel herself, accompanied by my colleague. Hearing our questions, Isabel initially tried to evade but eventually broke down, crying about the work dumped on her by the director and the difficulties she faced when left out of communication. I realized I didn't notice, or perhaps didn't want to notice. I should have been aware sooner. Isabel had been struggling alone all this time. Her lack of interaction was to avoid conflict with the director, who often caused trouble when she spoke with others. Angered by these underhanded tactics, I confronted the director directly, but she denied everything, which prompted me to take the next step. That night, I consulted with the CEO and chairman. Although I was only a manager, I was actually favored by the CEO and chairman, having been headhunted to this company. I was quite close to them, often invited to dinner meetings. I had a dinner appointment with the CEO and chairman, where I objectively discussed Isabel and the director's actions, expressing my concerns. The CEOs listened calmly and promised to investigate. But I couldn't wait. When I expressed concern to the chairman about his granddaughter, he questioned how I knew about Isabel, but admitted their relationship after I explained our recent closeness. The CEO, though not related to Isabel by blood, was the one who had invited her to the company. Taking responsibility, the CEO deeply reflected and offered some advice. Which brought me here today. Jacqueline, did you really do such things to Isabel? When I asked this, the director, initially flustered, finally admitted her actions as I persisted. At first, I didn't. But then, thinking she might be the next CEO as a chairman's granddaughter, I panicked. Were you aiming for the CEO position, Jacqueline? Yes, is that so wrong? I've devoted myself to this company for that. I thought I finally became a director and next would be the CEO. I can't let her get in my way. Hearing the director's ambition, I was taken aback. But it seemed she had greatly erred in her methods. Furthermore, if she had truly achieved significant accomplishments, the CEO would have recognized her. The director seemed defiant. As she started to slander Isabel, I interrupted her unbearable words to continue. I understand your point, Jacqueline. You understand. So, this time. But you're wrong. You pushed Isabel too hard. Please take responsibility for that. As I firmly said this, the conference room door opened. There stood Isabel, flanked by the CEO and chairman. The director gasped at the sight. Are you trying to deceive me? No, I brought Isabel here because I wanted you to apologize to her. As I said this, the director clenched her back teeth in frustration. And glared at me. If that's your intention, then I won't hold back anymore. Be prepared. The director, glaring, positioned herself in front of Isabel. She then turned her fierce gaze on Isabel and appealed to the CEO and chairman standing beside her. Please listen to me. You are being deceived. These two conspired to overthrow me. The director, with clenched fists and a stern face, made her accusation strongly. The CEO and chairman, displeased by the director's words, watched as she fabricated a story about how we pinned our mistakes on her. I didn't do such a thing. This all started when I investigated what your daughter said during the interview. You admitted it, didn't you? Please take the responsibility. No. I only admitted because I was forced into a corner. Where's the proof my daughter said those things? We have the interview recorded. I'll ask Nancy to bring it right now. Please wait a moment. I immediately called my colleague, who quickly brought the interview recording to the conference room. We projected the interview footage, the report, and Isabel's overtime data with the room's projector, showing them to the CEO and chairman. Still, the director didn't give up. She accused me of threatening her daughter during the interview to coerce damaging testimony, and claimed I manipulated Isabel's overtime data using my colleague. I was deceived. This woman has been carrying out a meticulous plan. I realized it too late. The director even began to fake cry poorly. Then she called Catherine, put it on speaker, and asked if I had threatened her during the interview. Catherine, maintaining her usual tone but becoming angry upon hearing my name, said the interview was terrible. My daughter says this. Do you still believe her? Are you saying I bullied and cornered Isabel? Just because she's your cute granddaughter, you're playing favorites? That's absurd. The chairman and others looked displeased at her words. I decided to present my final piece of evidence. I have an audio recording of you admitting what you did to Isabel. It's from our conversation before Isabel and the others arrived. Please give up and admit it. And apologize to Isabel. I played the audio of our earlier conversation from my mobile phone. Hearing her own words and realizing I had recorded the conversation, the director clenched her back teeth in frustration. This is a clear violation of compliance. The director had no further rebuttals. The CEO and chairman then informed her that a meeting would be held to discuss her future sanctions and advised her to prepare any counterarguments by then. Hearing this, the director slumped in her seat with a look of despair on her face. Subsequently, the director was stripped of her position. Her salary was reduced, and she was transferred to a small, regional department. It's unlikely she will ever return to a director's role, regardless of her future achievements. Naturally, Catherine's job offer was also revoked. Catherine, outraged that she was treated this way because of her mother, stormed into the company but was quickly restrained by security and taken away. According to a rumor, the director, who was already divorced, recently disowned her daughter and is now living alone in an apartment near her new department. I received thanks from Isabel. Furthermore, I was promoted from manager to director and am now working as the director of human resources. While I was genuinely happy about the promotion, I also regretted not realizing the situation sooner. Still, Isabel is strong. Since the director's departure, she seems to have regained her spirits over time. Seeing this brought me relief. I enjoy my work at this company. I hope that one day Isabel will come to feel the same way.